Alright, this is San Pedro Square in San Jose, one of my old stomping grounds when I used to attend college out here at San Jose State University. Fantastic place to get some food, some beverages, hanging out with friends. Just finished a meal at the old spaghetti factory and had a beer. I might be a little bit red. My Pepsi AC kicked in a little bit late. And for those of you that are less familiar, Asians get the red glow, and to combat that we take Pepsi AC, which helps to reduce that redness. But yeah, highly recommend checking this place out even during a pandemic. It's a nice place to get some outdoor dining. There's also La Victoria around the corner, which is a taqueria that is very well known for their orange sauce. There's multiple locations in the San Jose area, but there's one right off Santa Clara Avenue, I believe, here. And yeah, just recommend checking this place out. This is San Pedro Square in San Jose. So it hasn't exactly been the best weekend for the Golden State Warriors. Unfortunately, losing Klay Thompson for the entire season. As far as poker goes for me personally, just wrapped up another session tonight on a Saturday, the 20th. Played yesterday as well. And didn't play super long today, but got quite a few hands to run through. In this first hand, under the gun raises to $15. I'm in the cutoff with ace jack offsuit and 3-bet it to $50. Big blind cold calls, playing roughly $400 back. Under the gun tank folds, and this is an interesting hand as this was a new table, and Big Blind and I chatted lightly before we got started, and he is a vlog supporter, so that can always add a bit of an extra layer to these hands. We go heads up to a flop of ace king queen with 2 hearts. Big Blind decides to lead for $50, and kind of interesting because when he cold calls pre, I'm ranging him on hands such as pocket 9s and pocket 10s. And so for him to lead on this board is unexpected, especially since it favors me. I decide to just flat. The turn comes a 3 of spades and he continues firing for $75 with roughly $275 back. Again, just trying to piece the puzzle together here, and I decide to just make the call. River comes a 5 of spades. He checks and I happily just check and take my showdown value. He tables pocket 8, so he did have some evil intentions, but fortunately, I had a good enough hand to withstand the aggression in this one. Shout out to Chris, who was the big blind in this hand, and I definitely appreciate the vlog support. Hand immediately after, under the gun limps, middle position raises to $20. Low jack calls. I call from the hijack with pocket 5s, the cutoff calls, and under the gun calls as well. 5 ways to a flop of 9-5-3 with 2 clubs, so I flop middle set on a fairly draw heavy board. Under the gun checks. Middle position C-bets for $45 with roughly $400 back. Low jack folds and got a raise in this spot, so I make it $165 and everyone folds. So no additional action, but always nice to flop a set and win a hand. This next hand is 7-handed. Under the gun, hijack and button limp. Small blind folds. I'm in the big blind with queen 10 offsuit, and it's a decent hand to check. But with all the weakness shown, I decide to just try and steal it and raise to $40. That doesn't happen as I'm only able to shed one of the 3 players as under the gun and hijack call. 3 ways to a flop of king queen 8 with 2 hearts. Pretty good flop with second pair and range advantage. And the limp caller shouldn't have too much king X unless they were playing tricky pre-flop. I bet $60 into 2 players, both of which are supporters of the channel, and I get reluctant folds from both. 7-handed again in this next one. Under the gun limps, cutoff raises to $20. I'm on the button with pocket 10s and 3-bet it to $65. Folds back to the cutoff, who open folds, ace 10 off suit. Kind of a nothing hand, but I show up because this was against a player named Stan, who is one of the funniest guys at Lucky Chances. So shout out to you, Stan.
I got all your out. Not better out than you are. Not better out.
Hand immediately after, I'm in the cutoff with pocket 6s and raises to $20, and I get 2 callers, the button and big blind. 3 ways to a flop of king queen 10 rainbow. That's not me, and when big blind bets $25, that ends any thought of range C betting. Short-handed 5 ways in this next one. I raised it to $20 from the hijack with 7-10 of clubs and only get a call from the cutoff. Heads up to a flop of jack 9 deuce with 2 hearts. I flop a gutter ball and I C-bet it for $25. Cutoff calls. Turn comes a 5 of clubs, so I don't pick up additional equity. And this is a good blank to keep firing, but this player has been in pretty much all of the hands that I've played so far, and I think he's tired of folding against me, so I decide to check. He bets, and I just let it go. Next hand, back to fully 8-handed. Under the gun and hijack limp, I raise it to $30 from the button with ace-10 offsuit, and I get calls from both players. 3 ways to a flop of queen 7-5 rainbow. Checks to me, I c-bet it for $50. Under the gun tank calls and hijack folds. Heads up to a turn of a 6 of spades. He checks, and it's not the best card to keep firing since it's a range card for him, but I decide to try and win this one with some aggression and hopefully get him off a weak queen X type holding. I bet $160 and he releases his hand. Hand immediately after, low jack raises to $30, hijack calls. I'm in the cutoff with pocket aces and 3-bet it to $130. Low jack calls and hijack folds. We go heads up to a flop of jack 9-5 with 2 diamonds. He's got around $350 back and he checks. I bet $120. He makes the call. Turn comes a 5 of clubs pairing the board. He checks. I bet enough to put it all in for $230 effective. He begrudgingly makes the call. I table my hand before the river, which comes a 6 of clubs. He ends up tabling pocket queens, so an unfortunate cooler situation for my opponent, and I take this one down. Six-handed in this next one, low jack and hijack limp. I raise it to $30 from the cutoff with jack 9 of diamonds, and both players call. 3 ways to a flop of ace 7-5 rainbow, so I flop range advantage with solid backdoors. When he checks to me, I fire $50 and both players call. We go to a turn of a 6 of diamonds, so I pick up all forms of backdoors. When they both check to me, I decide to check and go into realization mode. I don't want to bet and then get raised off my equity in this multi-way scenario, particularly since I'm in position. 3 ways to a river, which comes a 10 of diamonds, so I make the disguised flush. Good news is that low jack bets $165 with $155 back. Hijack folds. I go all in. He tanks for a while and ultimately settles on a call. I table my hand and I take it down. Last interesting one to note, in the hand immediately after, I end up being in the under the gun / low jack position with some players moving around and a new player posting $5 to play in the cutoff. We're 6-handed. I raise it to $20 with queen 10 of spades and I get calls from the cutoff, small blind, and big blind. 4 ways to a flop of queen 9-8 with 2 clubs, so I flop top pair with a gutter ball. When the 2 blinds check, I decide to check as well. Cutoff bets $75. Both of the blinds get out of the way and I make the call. Turn comes a queen of hearts, putting a second flush draw on the board and giving me trips. I check. He bets $200 with $700 back and I decide to just call again. River comes a deuce of clubs, so it completes the front door flush, so not the best card. I check. He pretty quickly checks back. I table my hand, which is no good, as he shows jack 10 offsuit to take it down with the straight. So lose a bit here, but it could have been much worse, so I'll take it. So that wraps it up for the notable hands played. Got in the game for $900, didn't have to add on, cashed out $1,930, so a profit of $1030. Before wrapping up this video, just want to touch on a couple comments that were made about wanting to see some bigger stakes on this channel. Definitely up for it to play some 510 or even some 1025 on occasion. Problem is that those games aren't really spread in the Bay Area currently. I know there was a 1025 game that ran semi-regularly at Grayton Casino. Brad Owen has jumped into some of those games. As far as 510, I don't think there are any games in the Bay Area currently as well, but if and when those do pop up, I'll definitely give those a shot. Otherwise, might just have to wait until the pandemic is over to hop into some 510. Another option for some bigger games, or at least deeper games, is the Texas Card House. Shout out to Rampage Poker and Next Gen Poker on the recent stream that they played on. Again, personally though, I'm just not exactly excited about traveling at the moment. Again, when things get safer, happy to give places like Texas Card House a try. I know Ryan Feldman, who used to be the producer of Live at the Bike, just recently moved over to the Hustler Casino, I believe, And if and when they get their stream up and running, I'm happy to give that a shot too. So just throwing that all out there. Happy to try to mix it up down the road. And with that, I'll see you all on the next one.
Start it up.